Hello friends, hope all of you are. So today we will be discussing about photosynthesis. Before that, let us revise on what we had learnt the previous day. We learnt what is a nutrition. We also learned how to define nutrition. We talked about autotrophic nutrition wherein plants, and also we have talked about heterotrophic nutrition where the other animals depend on others for their food. So today we will discuss about photosynthesis. So the plants, they are autotrophs, right? They make their own food. As I told in the earlier class, where is a kitchen? Where do they go ahead and prepare their food? Where do they go ahead and synthesize their food? That happens in the leaves of the green plants. So leaves are the food factories of plants. Therefore, all the raw materials like water, like the carbon dioxide, all these things must reach the leaf. Water and minerals present in the soil are absorbed by the roots and transported to the leaves. Carbon dioxide from the air is taken through the tiny pores which is present on the surface of the leaves. These pores are surrounded by guard cells. Okay, so you see guard cells are there surrounding these pores, and this pore is called as stomata. This pore is called as stomata. Now, coming on to the water and minerals which are transported to the leaves by the vessels which run like pipes throughout the roots, the stems, the leaves and the branches. So what is happening? They are going to form a continuous passage, a continuous path for the nutrients to reach the leaf. Okay. So the leaves, they are green in color, right? So these green pigment, the green color of the leaf is called as chlorophyll. This green color pigment is called the chlorophyll. It helps leaves to capture energy of the sunlight. This energy is used to synthesize food from carbon dioxide and water. Since the synthesis of food occurs in the presence of sunlight, it is called photosynthesis. So, here the photo means what? Photo means light, and synthesis means to combine. Okay, so photosynthesis is the green plants, they make food using water and carbon dioxide to form glucose and oxygen in the presence of sunlight. Okay, so we find that chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide and water are necessary to carry out photosynthesis. It is a unique process on earth. The solar energy is captured by the leaves and stored in the plant in the form of food. So what do we see? We see that sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. So who is the ultimate source? Sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. You cannot even imagine the earth in absence of photosynthesis. See, if there is no photosynthesis, the plants will not be able to synthesize their own food. If the plants do not synthesize their own food, there will be scarcity and then there will be no food. So in absence of photosynthesis, there would not be any food. The survival of almost all living organisms, directly or indirectly, depends upon the food made by the plants. Besides, oxygen, which is essential for the survival of all living organisms, is produced during photosynthesis. So one of the output is oxygen. In absence of photosynthesis, life would be impossible on the earth. Besides leaves, this can take place in other green parts of the plant, like green stems, green branches. The desert plants, that is a cactus, the desert plants, if you would have seen a cactus, would have small scale or spine like leaves to reduce loss of by transpiration is the process of losing excess water, okay, by the plants. So these water loss can be reduced by reducing the leaves into spines. In these plants, stems, you have a thick stem in cactus that carries out photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, chlorophyll containing cells of leaves in the presence of sunlight use carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are synthesized by using sunlight, carbon dioxide and water. So herein this is given by an equation: carbon dioxide plus water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives carbohydrate and oxygen. Okay, so during the process, oxygen is released. The presence of starch in the leaves indicates the occurrence of photosynthesis. Starch is also a carbohydrate. So, if we can test for the starch, there is an iodine test. Okay, in starch. Say there is an activity. If you take two potted plants of the same kind, keep one in dark for 72 hours and other in sunlight. Now you perform iodine test. So how do you perform iodine test? You will wash the leaf in alcohol and then you will drop few drops of iodine and then you will record your result. Now leave the pot which was earlier kept in dark in the sunlight for 3 to 4 days and perform the iodine test again on these leaves. You record the observation. The leaves other than green also have chlorophyll. So you would have seen maple trees, you would have seen some trees wherein the leaves, they are of a different color, right? So these leaves which are not green in color also do have chlorophyll. The large amount of red, brown and other pigments, they are going to mask the green color, and here in these leaves photosynthesis will take place. You often see slimy green patches in the ponds or in other stagnant water. So here these are generally formed by growth of organisms called as algae. Now algae also contains chlorophyll which gives them green color. Algae can also prepare their own food by photosynthesis. Now sometimes plants do synthesize other plant foods than carbohydrates. You have learnt that synthesis of carbohydrates through the process of photosynthesis. The carbohydrates are made of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. These are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. But proteins are nitrogenous substances which contain nitrogen. From where do the plants obtain nitrogen? Recall that nitrogen is present in abundance in gaseous form. In the air, we have a lot of nitrogen that is moving around, and soil has certain bacteria that can convert gaseous nitrogen into usable form and release into the soil. So these are absorbed by the plants along with water. Also, you might have seen farmers adding fertilizers rich in nitrogen to the soil. In this way, plants fulfill the requirements of nitrogen along with other constituents. Can synthesize proteins and vitamins. So a lot of food items that we get from plants are rich in proteins and vitamins. Okay, so at this point of time, you should take up foods which are rich in proteins and vitamins to keep your immunity high, to combat against the virus. Okay, so